Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webcast, How Asset Management Firms Are Rebooting Sales and Service Using Microsoft Apps They Already Own. My name is Tom Berger. I'm the VP of Financial Services here at AK Enterprise Solutions. Today, you will also hear from Michael Quattlebaum, a Senior Functional Solution Architect, and Michael Hammonds, the Director of AK's Business Intelligence Practice. Before I pass it on to Michael Quattlebaum, I'd like to introduce you to AKA. AKA is a cloud consultancy that works with the entire Microsoft stack. Looking at this illustration, we have shown the literal stack, starting with Azure and the cloud platform at the bottom, and integrating with the modern workplace applications which you know and love, such as Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and many you may not know, like Flow, Power Apps, Logic Apps, and others. And on top of that, we configure and implement the Microsoft Business Applications workloads, like customer engagement, formerly called CRM, and finance and operations, formerly called AX. On top of the business applications, we configure and implement the data platform and analytics tools, the most notable of which is Power BI. Lastly, our major value comes with our industry expertise and IP and our experience in asset management and other capital markets microverticals. This is a brief overview of our Dynamics Advantage accelerators. Built with configurations and data models and integrations specifically driven by our experience with these microverticals in capital markets. The workflows, processes, screens, fields, and business rules are all integrated into our solutions seamlessly and allow us to implement our solutions and projects faster, more efficiently, and come to client engagements with a starting point that adds values to these engagements and reduces overall time to market. So we all know that industry is changing rapidly, and there are a lot of trends in asset management today. First of all, we've all experienced this, and passive investing is growing rapidly. Millennial wealth is also increasing, and finally, China is opening up rapidly. Total AUM growth in the next 5 years will grow from 85 trillion to 125 trillion. How do you as asset management firms become more nimble, agile, and aggressive to be able to address those while leveraging technologies that you already own? So based on those lessons learned in asset management and our experience, I'd like to introduce Michael Quattlebaum, Senior Functional Solution Architect. Michael?
Thanks, Tom. Based off of the things that we see in asset management as a whole in the industry, we do a lot of projects around asset management implementations. And so I'm going to focus on a couple of areas where we've learned lessons through the process of doing projects with asset management firms. One is around data, the organization of data and the cleanliness of data, being able to segment specific types of data and augmenting it and in improving the quality of the data that's attached to things like data packs and improving the data structure within the organization are all areas where we see clients both doing a lot of work and many times struggling around those areas as well. We also hear a lot about mobility. How do you do trip planning? How do you do preparation for meetings and recording properly the meeting and meeting notes and the outcomes and activities that come out of a meeting? And then the visibility of available profiles and hierarchy organizations within the industry as well, and being able to access those from a mobile perspective. And then also the visibility of cross-functional visits as others within the firm are visiting consultants and that sort of thing. What does that look like? Who's got those touch points with those individuals as well? And then the other thing we hear a lot of times is around user interface. Many of you might already have a point solution that may be a little bit dated and just difficult to use compared to many of the other applications that you have on your desktop today. And so we hear users saying we want something that's simple and intuitive, something that's easy to track activities and interests and segment data, things that are easy to make it to be able to visualize the matrix relationships that we have within organizations today as well. And then finally, things around ongoing training and being able to iterate or make changes as we go through the process as well. So we hear folks that maybe they do have a point solution and they want to change things or track things differently, and the challenges that come along with that. So today we're going to make a transition to talking about some of the tools that you may already own within your organization and how you can leverage those in an integrated fashion to address some of these challenges that we're seeing in the industry. This is a slide that kind of shows you all of the touch points from a Microsoft perspective, and many of you might have different solutions within your organization, but my guess is that at least some of these you probably touch on, things like Office 365, where there's Outlook and Excel, which most people use for analytics and some level of reporting, LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator and the touch pieces around that. These are areas that you're probably already aware of. Some of you might be aware of some of the Azure services around processing data and storage of data, and some of the web services and cloud services that are available around that. There might be some of you on the phone that use the Microsoft Dynamics 365 platform, either around finance and operations or customer engagement. And so all of these touch points around these applications is what we'll be looking at today. Integrations are something that's really expanding quickly in the Microsoft stack. You might have heard of Microsoft Flow, which is just an integration platform that lets different applications talk to each other in a very seamless manner. And this is just a sampling of some of the connectors that are available out of the box with Microsoft Flow. So, for example, if you're using Salesforce as your CRM, but you want to gather notifications and approvals through Microsoft Outlook, those connectors are available inside of Microsoft Flow to make that happen today. You might also be familiar with Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft Teams is a collaboration platform that is available from Microsoft that has connectors to all these different applications as well. And so we see more and more as there's teams around sales or client engagement that they are collaborating in lots of different ways. Maybe they're using Rike for some project management, or maybe they're using Power BI for some reporting, or SharePoint for some document management. Pulling all those pieces together into a single user interface is what Teams is all about. And so now, just after that brief introduction to some of the platform components that you may already own today, we're going to shift over to demonstration so that you can take a look at how some of these interact today as well. I'm going to hand over to Mike Hammonds, and we're going to switch over to his screen and do a live demo now.
Great. Thank you, Michael and Tom, and thank you everybody for joining us today. So as Michael mentioned, we're going to just cover some of these in more of a demo mode. And where I'm going to start really here is at my Office 365 dashboard. Okay. So depending on your Office, which version that you're subscribing to, today I'm covering all the apps that you should have access to. Now there's a little bit of an it depends, because there are multiple versions or multiple subscription levels. But most of these are available in the business premium level, and then there's different levels, E1 through E5. But for the most part, most people have access to the majority of these applications in their existing subscription. Okay, so you see that what's beautiful about all of these applications is they are all interconnected. They're all seamlessly integrated, not only to the Microsoft platform, but to other platforms as well. And we're going to through demonstration mode, kind of talk about those. Okay, so first, one of the pillars that Michael showed on the slide was mobile, right? And in particular, that's around getting ready for, say for meetings or just general interaction with systems from a mobile perspective. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my little screen share from my mobile application. Okay, I'm happen to be using an Android device. Works exactly the same way with iPhone devices. Get rid of that. All right, so I'm just going to start with, I happen to use the Outlook application on my device. Great little application. And again, if you have Office 365, highly recommend you use that versus the out-of-box email application. So within this, the first thing I'm going to do, let's assume that we're going to, or we're at an event. And I've met either a potential investor, or I've met maybe somebody that's a broker or an advisor, and I want to see if we've got any detail or information about this person, either myself or anybody else in the firm. So surreptitiously, I'm just going to send a quick little email over to a bot, if you will, a little artificial intelligence engine powered by Flow that's going to look for information based upon this request that I send them. Okay, so the person I'm talking to at this event is Tricia Kerrigan. So I want to see what information we have about Tricia Kerrigan. Okay, now that's going to take roughly 30 seconds, 60 seconds or so. I'm going to show you other ways that using Flow, your existing CRM system, whether that's Dynamics or whether that's Salesforce or whether that's Big Doe or whether that's Sales Page, you name it, we can connect to these other applications. Okay, so using the power of Flow, we can actually, and the ability to look inside of our Outlook or Exchange calendars, the system can notify us and send us details and information about our upcoming meetings. Okay, so in this case, it's sending me a pre-meeting prep email because it's looking at my calendar. Flow then says, hey, you've got an upcoming meeting. I'm going to send you information about the about the people that you're going to be meeting, about the company or the person that you're meeting. So in this case, this is a meeting with Alex Brown. Let's say they're one of our brokers, right? And so it's going to show me company news. That just grabs information, for example, from Bing News or Google News or whatever those news sources are. It's also looking inside the CRM system and seeing who are the attendees. Also looking inside of Exchange. As I continue to scroll down, it's also going to show me those emails, so recent emails that we've had with this firm or people at this firm, additional meetings that are coming up. Really, as you kind of see as I'm scrolling down here, relationship strength, that's artificial intelligence deriving the strength of our relationships. That's typically based on things like number of transactions, revenue, number of activities, number of visits, meetings, phone calls, emails. So typically the more of those we have with the firm, the higher our likelihood of an improved or better relationship is. But you can see that regardless of where this information is sitting, whether it's in my CRM system, inside my Exchange, inside, maybe we've got our own databases that we're collecting information from, we can actually pull that information out and put those into those pre-meeting emails. Okay. Once the email has happened, I'll get a second notification. Again, Flow noticed that the time has passed. More than likely, the meeting has occurred, and it will actually allow me to input emails here. So you can see here it says post-meeting capture. Simply hit reply and type in your meeting notes. Okay, so once I hit reply, I can type in all my meeting notes, and that will then update the meeting notes inside of my CRM system. Okay? So really fantastic, easy way. This is the system pushing information to me, making me more productive, making me more efficient. I don't have to go digging for details. I don't have to remember to do things. Using these applications you already own, we're just tying them into the systems you already own to help you earn more money is the bottom line. Okay? Now, another thing while I wait for that request to come in, it can also be set up to just say, hey, based upon the activity that I see that you're having, the types of people that you're interacting with, it's making some additional recommendations. You might want to reach out to these individuals. You might want to look at these types of activities, or you've got some additional activities upcoming. Right? So really fantastic, easy ways for us to help everybody be a lot more productive and efficient. So you'll see here now that a request went out. It grabbed all that information in detail. And now I see everything that was in our systems kind of fed back to me. So I see a nice little picture. This actually happened to be grabbed out of LinkedIn because Microsoft now owns LinkedIn. And then I can do a LinkedIn connection right to her particular record. So, right, so it'll just take me to my LinkedIn app and pull up Trisha's information. I'm not going to log in there at the moment, but she is a real person, so there you go. So she just, so that's my LinkedIn app on my phone from a request that I sent via email. Right, pretty slick, right? So if we go back to our email, I'm just going to flip back, go back to my Outlook. We can also have CRM available on our mobile applications. We see personal information that it pulled out, interests, meetings that are upcoming, etc. So one quick little email, it finds all the information it has about this person, and now I can use that in my conversation to help continue to build that relationship. Right? So let's move on, and we're going to touch just a little bit on Dynamics CE, Customer Engagement, formerly called CRM. But I want to kind of point out that while I'm starting this demonstration part in Dynamics, these features and capabilities can also be embedded in those other applications that I mentioned. Okay, so you don't have to be tied to a Microsoft application. Okay, we work oftentimes with people who have, you know, some of these other applications along with the Microsoft information. Okay, but Microsoft is making a heavy investment in artificial intelligence. Okay, and that's what this little recommendation box is. It's looking at details inside my CRM, looking at those activities inside of Exchange, looking at the people on my team that are having interactions with other people on my clients' teams or my advisors' teams. And it's just saying, hey, you know, these are some recommended actions that you should take. So there's a couple of high ones here. So let's look at this bottom one. And as I open that up, again, this was generated strictly by artificial intelligence. And it's saying it's recommending that you make a phone call. It's assessing that there's some high risk because it noticed that there's been a $5 million decrease in AUM and number of accounts have been dropping, right? So again, I didn't have to wait for a report. I didn't have to study hundreds of rows of data from a spreadsheet report that I get, right? That either that daily or weekly report to me to try to figure out what's happening. The system is driving that information. Okay. Now, another thing that can kind of help with these types of interactions that we have is I'm just going to go to a recent organization that I've been dealing with, and let's go here to organizations, and I'm going to go to Alex Brown. Okay. And so Alex Brown here, I've got this ability to embed analytics. Okay, so this is actually a Power BI application inside of my CRM system, and it's actually filtered to show me for this broker dealer what's the total market value, how many fees have they collected, how many clients, active clients do they have. These are the advisors and their portfolios and their AUM for each of those portfolios. Fees, have they been growing year over year? Are they dropping year over year? And then on the right-hand side, you know, we've got additional information that these are just slicers and filters. So if I want to see just institutional, boom, there's just institutional. How about private client? How about retail? So you see all those numbers are changing very quickly and very easily. Okay. Now, let's assume that I'm going to be on the road again, right? We're going to be going and visiting Alex Brown. Wouldn't it be nice that I could also see very easily all my other clients or all my other advisors that are near Alex Brown. Well, I can do that now using this application. It's called Mapalytics, and you'll see, again, it's tied into my CRM system. And what it's going to show me is the location of that broker-dealer that I'm going to go visit, and that's what this little dot is here. But you know what? Since I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there for a few days, let's go in and figure out what other either prospects, leads, or clients or advisors that we have. Okay, so I'm going to just do by location. We're going to say add this as the current location, and I want to know within a 10-mile radius what active organizations we have, and I want them ranked by their account rating. So basically, the higher the ranking, those are the ones that I'm interested in. So I hit search. It's looking through our database, our CRM database in this case, and these are the organizations within a 10-mile radius of that location, right? Not only that, I can now actually even have the system help me with driving directions. So I can come into here, say, yeah, I'm going to go and visit that organization. I'm going to visit this organization. I'm going to this one. And so as I'm adding these to my route, I can now quickly and easily click go, and that's going to give me an optimized route. If I do it the day that I'm there, it'll actually also incorporate traffic. Okay, so again, it's helping me be a lot more efficient and effective. So now I can go in and typically we see our customers that are implementing this approach put in an average of 2 to 3 extra meetings per day. You know, and we often see that the equation of the more people I meet, the more face time I'm getting with my clients and prospects, generally the better my revenue is going to look, right? So fantastic way to be much more productive and efficient. Okay, so let's move on then to one other of our favorite applications, and that is Excel. Okay, so I'm going to go and just take a quick look at my opportunities, right? And so first I'm going to just open this up inside of Excel, and so we will be able to see details and information about all of those opportunities, but I can see them now within the context of Excel, right? We all love Excel. So you can have a CRM system and still be able to use Excel. Not only that, it's also interactive and editable. So let's say that, you know what, I visited several of these clients, and I'm just going to come in here before our Friday afternoon meeting with the whole sales team. I'm going to come in here, I'm just going to go in and update these. You know, we can have a little note section. Let's say that, yep, we're going to get an RFP from them. We're going to get another one from them. Notice those are pick lists. So those are the same kind of pick lists that are coming from the CRM system. And then, you know, I'm going to change that one out to 3/1/2019 as well. So what happens is, as soon as I save this, it actually writes those changes back to the CRM system. So multiple editing inside of an Excel for multiple records. Easy peasy, right? It gets even better. Oh yes. Let's now take a look at just Excel. Okay, and I'm going to show you a couple of things here that will allow you to be more productive, efficient, and put more money in your pocket. Here I have a set of charts and a table that I've created in Excel. Right? Now the way I did that is I just went to this little data tab, and I can say get data, and in this case I want to do from online services. This one happened to come from Dynamics CRM, but looky here, we can even pull in data from Salesforce. You know, if you happen to be using Facebook, you can certainly use that. There's our Dynamics. From other sources like other websites, other types of databases, so Oracle, SQL, DB2, you name it, there is probably a connector for it. So that same connector screen that Michael had that showed you all the flow connectors, most of those work across Excel, across Flow, across Power Apps, and allows us to get data from those systems. Okay? And so I can now analyze my data right from within Excel. Okay, didn't have to export. I just went and got data, pointed it to my CRM system, pulled it in, and created my charts. Okay? Not only that, we can also do interacting with other applications. Right? So we mentioned the fact that Power BI is one of the apps within Office 365. If I go to my little Power BI tab, I can highlight a chart, and I can say, I want to pin that chart inside of a dashboard inside of Power BI. Okay. So I'm going to just go to, I'll just, I guess, leave this there. I'm going to go to my, pin this to my sales dashboard and click OK. And maybe I'm going to do this one as well. I'm going to pin that one to that same dashboard. Okay. I could even take, for example, even just a partial slice of a data grid and pin that as well. Okay, so you notice how it kind of picked that up and puts that in. So we're going to go there in a second. But the other thing I can do is I can actually even publish this entire spreadsheet up to Power BI. So this is a much better way now for me to distribute my Excel spreadsheets, right? These aren't going away, we know that. So here's a better way to distribute those and make sure that instead of sending them through email and sending some distribution groups and dropping them into folders and telling everybody, hey, it's there and ready, you've got one place to go, and now Power BI can hold all of your reporting needs. Okay? So I'm going to jump into that first, that My Workspace, and remember we had and I pinned those things to my sales dashboard. And so I open up my sales dashboard, and in here I've got gauges to show me, we're tracking leads, and we've got lead goals, so we've exceeded our lead goals there. Not quite met our sales goals. We've got a total revenue so far, a weighted revenue if we want to do weighted, etc. So I'm going to scroll down and show you, oh yes, we can embed videos. So we typically use getting started or learning videos inside your dashboards. But as I kind of continue to scroll down here, I should be able to see, oops, I accidentally clicked on that one, those Excel charts pinned to the bottom of this particular dashboard. So there's the column chart, there's my pie chart, and there's the slice of that data grid. Sweet, right? Okay, now if I go back to my workspace and I go back to workbooks, there is that pipeline management Excel report that I just published. All right, I can now click on that, and because I'm using Office 365, it opens it up in Excel online. I didn't have to download it, didn't have to save it to my documents, didn't have to go find it, didn't have to double click on it. One single click and it opens up right there in the browser. And not only that, it too is editable. All right, so we're going to change that one to 200 or 2000, change that one to 2000, and the cycle continues. All right, and pick list there. You can add your pick list here as well. I know, pretty amazing, right? Okay, so moving on, let's now talk just briefly about the Teams application. Okay? Now, Teams is really for, I would call it, the way we see people most often using it anyway, in asset management is around pursuits, either RFPs or opportunities, client meetings, things along those lines. Okay? So in this case, you'll see that I'm on a bunch of teams right now. So we've got an AB investment meeting coming up. We're working potential investments with Bear, another broker dealer, even maybe with Microsoft. So as you see, as I'm clicking on these, we can have conversations about this meeting, right? So looks like I'm mostly the one having one-sided conversations in this case, but other people can simply come into here, reply, answer, and we continue the conversations there. So it moves them out of your Outlook. All right, we're trying to reduce the clutter there and have these important conversations inside of a place where more people can access, or it's more focused, right? So not only that, if I click on my files, I can upload and store my files here. So again, now I've got one central place to have all those files, and just like my CRM, just like the Excel, if I click on it, in this case it's a document, I can open it up and I can start to edit right there inside of Teams, right? Again, if I can save myself 2 to 3 clicks every time and save myself, 1 to 2 minutes, let's say every half an hour, by the end of the day, I very well could have another hour available for more important items and things, right? Now, in addition to that, here's where it helps with kind of that planning component, right? So you can see here, I've just got these 3 simple little buckets. Here's what we've got to do. Here's what we've got in progress. Little red indicator says it's past due. And then here are the things that have been done. And then we can see, if I hover over, we can make quick and easy assignments. Okay, so let's say secure conference facility, right? And I'm going to set a due date, let's say for the 22nd, and I'm going to assign 2 people. I'm going to assign Bradley and Michael, right? And so from there, I hit add task. And what that will do, it won't just sit here, but because I've got the power of all these integrations happening, I can actually go in and those will show up inside of my Outlook as a task, and it will then also filter over to my CRM as a task, right? Again, regardless of what CRM system you have. It can go to other applications, so it doesn't have to be CRM, doesn't have to be Outlook. We can do the same capability to other applications. Okay, so regardless of where I create the task, it's going to kind of spread throughout my other applications. Again, so I don't have to go digging for it. I don't have to go to multiple clicks, multiple apps to go and find that information. Speaking of kind of surfacing information in other applications, in this particular case, now because that meeting is inside of CRM, I've taken that in. This is now coming from within my Dynamics 365 CE application. And you kind of see why is because we track a lot of information about this, these upcoming meetings, right? What's the subject? Where is it? Any notes? What are the customer interests? Who are the internal, external attendees? Any follow-up activities, etc. Right? So anything that's inside of your CRM now, again, it's now inside my team application. If you're a OneNote or a OneNote user, same thing, surfacing now OneNote inside my team, which can also be surfaced inside of my CRM, which can also be surfaced inside of Excel now and other applications. So there's the meeting notes to our initial team meeting. We had an investment deep dive, had another client meeting on 12/12. So we are able to kind of keep track of all this information in a single place. Okay. But it still gets better. I'm going to go to a different team now, and I'm going to go in and show you some. Now this one, again, this is a Dynamics that I'm showing, but again, Salesforce, I can do the same thing. And you can see here that it will show me opportunities. It'll show me top matches. I can say, show me top leads. And it's going to try and figure out what I'm saying. And oh, there you go. I found 2 leads. Pretty sweet, right? That's an artificial intelligence bot in action, which is essentially also the same stuff that did our little request email, right? So great little ways to interact with it from here. Again, notice I'm still in Teams, even though I'm talking to and asking information from a CRM system. And then my dashboard will kind of just roll up information from our CRM system. So in this case, I've got a focus list of activities. I've got latest news and information coming from the investments that those clients have or those advisors have been making. I can kind of scroll down and see additional information. And even then, right from within here, open up the application and navigate while I'm still in Teams. Right? I know, pretty freaking amazing. Okay, so moving on, let's now take a look at, by the way, I'll just show you here how within Teams you can add other items and other information to your conversations. So when I click that little plus button, again, these are all those connectors that Michael showed that Teams now can interact with and all of our other applications can interact with. So lots and lots. I think there's somewhere roughly close to 200, and it probably grows by 10 or so per month. Okay, so if it's not out there yet, it probably will be at some point in the near future. Now we're gonna touch on another one called Power Apps. Again, you probably already own this if you have Office 365. Okay, and you can think of Power Apps as little quickie mobile apps, and they're really designed to be very narrowly focused in kind of capability, if you will. Okay, now these are designed to run, these two are designed to run on my phone, but I'm just going to run these in emulation mode. So in this case, we've got an upcoming event. We've invited a bunch of prospects to, and I want to give everybody a quick little mobile app that they can do a little prospecting at this event. Okay, so the first thing is, who am I talking to? So I'm talking to Joe Smith, one of the prospects, and I tap on Get Started, and this thing, to keep it simple, we started with 5 simple questions, and it's going to say, and you can do this kind of casual conversation. And then, as your phone is kind of maybe off to the side under the table a little bit, perhaps you can come into here and say, well, yeah, they like, private equity and or they like alternatives. Maybe they like estate planning. Maybe they like, they got a fair amount of disposable income. They like to do some private equity investing. And through our conversation, we say, yeah, they're pretty much would be called active and growth. Right, so you can have multiple selections in these. Again, through conversation, we understand, well, initially they got maybe around $5 million that they want to invest. And next, and then, if you want to say, make sure that we follow up with them after the event, hit yes. And now any other meetings or comments. Now, again, this information will go directly into whatever application I've connected that to. Okay. Typically, we tie it into CRM, because we want that as kind of our single source of truth of all of our customers and our prospects. But it certainly can go into other applications as well. Okay. Let's take a look at another application. Both of these applications were literally built in less than 10 minutes. Okay. So it's all point and click, no code. Anybody who's doesn't have any developer skills whatsoever can create these applications. Now, we're not going to go in and show you how to create one. That's another event, but feel free to reach out to us if you'd like a personal demonstration one-on-one. Okay, so in this case, this is just a little lead app. Okay, so I've already got a bunch of leads, and yeah, if there's pictures, it'll pull those in. But if I go and take a look at Richard's details, I would tap on a little X. We've got more details about this person. I can then edit, right? And now that will update whatever source system I connected those to. That source system could be Excel, but again, we recommend it goes into your CRM system. But you can also add new leads. Okay, so let's just do me@me.com, and let's just do test, and let's do Alan, and where's we'll just say Alan. I should have put his last name in there too, but regardless, we'll check the little checkbox, and now that's updating the CRM system. And so let's go take a look at that. So I'm going to now flip over to my CRM system. I'm going to go to my leads, and that should have shown me my leads. Let's see. Let's try create date. There's Richard, and let's see about Alan, and that it does. There it is, and there's Alan there. All right. So very quick, very easy for us to do those types of capabilities. You can even embed Power Apps inside of Teams. You can embed it now also inside of Excel, inside your CRM. So lots of additional capabilities for having these applications talk to each other. Okay. And now finally, we're just going to touch briefly on Power BI. So we already kind of went into here and we showed how you can put your Excel reports in there, update dashboards. But now I'm going to just start at the very beginning here. And you'll see here, this is my asset management dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and it's now going to go to the details, and it's breaking out my AUM by different asset classes and types, right? As I scroll down, we've got additional information, investment mix, project roles, RFPs, statuses of RFPs, etc. Right? If I click on the details, it's going to take me to the actual reports. And so there it is again, broken out. If I want to see, for example, trades and positions, right? We can actually pull in this data from third-party sources who collect the transactions, right? And again, have that information in here. What about the commissions that my brokers have been having, right? Pretty nice. If I go back to my dashboard, though, I can even do things like ask it simple questions. Show me the top brokers. Try to spell broker correctly. There we go. Brokers. How about that? Multiple plurals. So we see assets under management by broker. Lester's leading the charge, followed by Fred, followed by Wally, etc. Just simple type in a question. Not only that, I can say, you know what? I always want to see that chart on my dashboard. I just hit the little pin, put it on my dashboard, and we're good to go. Right? And yes, it still gets even better. So now I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. I'm going to go into my sales one, which is actually looking at my sales data, right? We did this one earlier. But I'm going to navigate down to the detail. But you'll see we can even put in links to other applications. And that's now going to take me right to that particular customer record inside the CRM application. Right? So that can be done, again, any application down to the transaction level. So with that, we're going to wrap, and we're going to turn this back over, and I believe we're going to open it up to any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. Excellent, excellent presentation, and I love the humor in it too. Thank you, Mike and Michael. We've received some great questions. As a reminder, also, AK is a consultancy with over 80 financial services clients, and we have done hundreds of implementations and projects, which is why we have a point of view on these projects. So we welcome you to pick our brains, draw on our experience, and ask us questions about what you've seen or what you've experienced as asset managers. I've had some questions that have come through already. The first one is, hold on, let me look at it. Do I have to use Dynamics to take advantage of what we've seen today, like Power BI?
And I'm happy to answer that one. And no, absolutely not. This, particularly with Power BI, any data source. I've yet to find a data source that we can't incorporate into Power BI. But we can also, just like we saw in Dynamics, you can embed Power BI inside of those other CRM applications as well, or literally most other applications if they're web-based.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. The second question I saw here, what are some ways we can use the platform to manage data coming from multiple sources and match it against other data in the enterprise? Michael or Mike, you want to take this?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Tom. This is Michael. There's lots of processes that we can help with in order to do that. There are fuzzy matching, there's artificial intelligence and those sorts of things, and we can help automate those processes as well. Again, regardless of what system we're talking about, and the connectors that are available make that little process a little bit simpler as well. We can also use third-party sources to enrich the data a little bit more to make it easier to do those matches as well. But I will say that all of that data coming in from other sources, there is no magic bullet that says, hey, just make it all work. There's always a little bit of effort involved in doing that. Great question, by the way.
Thank you, and very disappointed about the lack of magic bullet there, Michael. Terrible. So last one is the integration you showed in Excel. Can you do that with Salesforce.com?
And that's, yeah, sure, I'll take that. And that is another big yes. Someone might have missed it, but I did show that if you click on your data tab, and then there's another button called Get Data, you should see in your own Excel, of course, if you're in the latest version of Excel, the ability to go to online services, and Salesforce will be one of those that you can directly pull data into your Excel.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Those are all the questions we have right now, unless somebody has other questions. And by the way, we are eager to take your questions offline. Our contact information is listed right here in the next slide. And again, we want to thank you for spending this hour with us and attending today's webcast. That concludes the questions and the presentation for today. As I mentioned in the beginning, this presentation was recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent out once it's available to us. On behalf of AK, thank you for joining us. Feel free to contact us and enjoy the rest of the day. Happy Friday, everybody.